I want to learn Japanese. Yes, you could have figured that out from the title of this video, and chances are that if you're here, you also want to learn Japanese. Well, maybe you're not, or maybe this video is already 3 years old. I've gotten a lot better at Japanese and added subtitles to this video, so you're a Japanese person that's interested in other people's progress. In any case, I'm just here to learn Japanese in front of all of you, hopefully the easy way, and share my experience. Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Leonard. I'm a university student from Germany, and I am planning to learn Japanese through an immersion method. I think I have learned English in this same way through immersion, but since I haven't actively observed what I'm doing or planned anything that I did, I can't talk from experience as much. I'm just confident in the method. This means that I will be learning about the method as we go as well. Hopefully, people that see this series can take a lesson for themselves away from this video or this series and have an easier time. As you can see from the title of this video is an introduction. I will be uploading one video every month where I document what I've done in the past month and what I'm planning to do in the coming month. Hopefully I can try out a lot of resources, but I can't try everything. In addition to the resources that I'll be trying, I hope that there's some people in the future that see this series and go all the way back to the beginning, so they can see that it always starts small, and I hope that people see that it's always just one step at a time, and that there's no reason to be afraid of learning any language because you think you're not going to get good when it's going slow at the moment. Now, you might be wondering, hey, why would this person even learn Japanese? And it's pretty simple. I just interact with Japanese pop culture every day. I've played around with the idea of learning Japanese for some time now, but up until recently I've always cringed when thinking about it. Now recently I saw some videos from a guy named Trenton. They're like half a year old, and they really, I guess, they made the whole process feel more tangible. They were really inspiring to me for some reason, and I think now that I've seen those videos, I realize that I only thought that learning Japanese would be cringe because I expected myself to give up. Now, that wouldn't mean that I'm just in like a phase and it wouldn't be like me having a genuine hobby or interest. I'm just following the mainstream, but I see now that learning a language is never easy, it's never laughable. You can never downplay it or overlook anything like learning a language. I just told myself, fuck it, and now I'm here. I said that I used immersion to learn English, and for those of you that don't know the immersion method, let me try and put it simply. You basically just get a lot of input. You just spend a lot of time with your target language. And I did that by listening to a lot of YouTube videos or English music, and that made me learn English. And I'm planning to do the same with Japanese, but now with more intention behind it. So you basically just do whatever is enjoyable. That's why I said at the beginning of this video that it's hopefully the easy way of learning a language, because you're not doing too much actively. It's very hard at first, and that's why we use our adult knowledge to help ourselves. So we learn the characters of the target language, we learn accent, we learn sounds, we learn vocab and grammar, and that's what I will be doing too. But aside from that, after that, you just spend a lot of time with the target language and hopefully see yourself being able to understand the language. And at some point, I guess it transitions into just you spending time in the language naturally. If you can listen to your favorite anime and watch it without subtitles and just understand what they're saying, obviously you're gonna have more fun than sitting at your desk for 2 hours every day and studying grammar and not getting anywhere, and you're not having fun and you might just give up. One important thing to mention is that it sounds easy because it hopefully becomes something that is less of a chore and something you just do because you want to. But it's still an endurance race. I'm not going to be able to speak Japanese in a year. In fact, as I'll explain later, I'm not planning to practice speaking anytime soon. It's really important to memorize or keep that in mind that it's not gonna be from today to tomorrow that you're able to speak the language. It's gonna take a couple of years. I really hope that this series will last all this time and that at the end of this, I'll be able to speak Japanese. I hope you see that I didn't go too much into detail and about how to actually do immersion. There's just a couple things I want to talk about. For example, that the main focus for me as I picked it out will be passive listening. So I focus on listening to something Japanese, something authentic, while I'm doing something that doesn't require my full attention. I will hopefully be using the app Anki every day to learn new vocabulary. Anki has been recommended by a lot of people in the immersion community because it's basically a flashcard program that determines for you when you should get a specific word again in order to memorize it the best, in order to retain it the best. It's been proven to be really effective in the past. Another thing I want to talk about is a tiny bit about output. In the last section, I talked about how I'm not gonna talk for a very long time at first, and that is because output kind of forces you to use your limited knowledge to try and produce something. And if you speak, if you do speaking too much early on, it could be, in the worst case, that you're fossilizing some errors in your pronunciation or grammar or something like that. Same thing, sadly, also goes for reading, because I think most people have this inner voice, so you're just producing mental output. So I won't be speaking or reading anytime soon. And if you're interested in learning more about immersion applied to Japanese, you should definitely check out Trenton's videos and channel in general. So I'll be putting his channel in the video description. Let's talk a little bit about where I see myself in the future. I'm planning to have very little accent in Japanese, and that is the reason why I'll be taking something called a silent period, which I've talked about before. And that basically just means that I won't be producing any output for some time, probably like a year, maybe more, maybe less. That is to not fossilize any errors in my pronunciation, which I hope that some native English speakers notice that I do not have a particularly strong accent, which I'm fairly proud of, and I'm trying to achieve the same thing for Japanese. I'm not planning to be able to write by hand as of now, but I really don't know anything at the moment, so maybe that plan changes in the future. I eventually want to be able to read novels, and I've heard great things about reading novels and that they can help your understanding ability a lot. But for the same reason that I won't be speaking for the first long while, I also won't be reading because I don't want to have to produce mental output. I want to track my immersion and Anki consistency, so I'm gonna be using the Toggle app to track the times in which I'm immersing, and I'm gonna install a plugin into Anki so I can show you guys my consistency. Along with all of these goals, I also want to document my progress in this YouTube format, obviously. This is kind of to hold myself accountable and to give advice from my own experience. I really hope that I can be honest with myself and you guys. I don't want to make myself feel better because I'm literally just starting out and I shouldn't enforce any unrealistic ideal in the end. People might either think I'm stupid if I say that I immersed for that long, but I still don't have any comprehension. And on the other hand, I also don't want to scare people away by saying, I have this many hours in immersion, but I'm still so bad at it, so people think, to get the progress I want, I'd have to immerse for 8 hours a day because he's saying he's doing 6 hours a day, and he definitely absolutely sucks. I'm trying to be honest with you. And then in the future, like I've said in the introduction of this video, I eventually want to go back and add Japanese subtitles to the videos I've already made. So hopefully Japanese people can also watch those videos. That might also be good practice for me as soon as I want to start speaking to build up some confidence if I try and translate and put things in my own words in Japanese for the first time. Now, finally, let's talk about what I'm planning to do in this upcoming first month of my journey. And before I talk about that, obviously, there's a disclaimer that I don't have any idea how anything works, so everything I'm saying here is just an estimate of how long it will take. So, starting out with learning hiragana and katakana, I'm hopefully done with that in about 2 weeks, where I'm planning on spending 1 to 2 hours every day. A tiny bit of research led me to a learning book from a website called Tofugu, which is free to access. They have one book for hiragana and one book for katakana. They use something called mnemonics, and I hope that it works well, but I'll be keeping you updated, as I said. After I'm done with hiragana and katakana, I'll start learning grammar with Tae Kim's A Guide for Japanese Grammar, which has been recommended to me also by the Immersion community. The plan at the moment is to read through the entire guide once and then take notes on the second pass, so hopefully I retain some of it, but my goal isn't to become perfect in Japanese grammar. It's just so I know all the basics, and not even by heart, but I can hopefully recognize some of them given some time in my immersion. I'll be working on the grammar guide for 1 to 2 hours for hopefully no longer than 6 weeks, so it will accompany me into next month. And then alongside with starting to learn grammar, I'll start using Anki to learn vocab with 10 new words per day and hopefully about 20 to 30 minutes per day forever, or until I change the amount of new words every day. Then I also want to start immersing with some Japanese podcasts as soon as I'm done with hiragana and katakana and learned my first words. Something I haven't mentioned before is pitch accent, which is a part of having no accent in the end. And basically how it works is that I'll just use the comparison that Trenton used in this video, that here in Western countries we have stress accent, which means that conflict and conflict are spelled the same, but depending on how I stress it, it means different things. And in Japanese, they don't have stress accent, but pitch accent instead. And the way I plan on practicing pitch accent is to do an online test, which kind of quizzes you on what you think the pitch accent used in this sample is, and I'll be doing this for 10 to 20 minutes per day until I get 100% consistently. Now, if you like this video, I'm really happy to hear that, and I'm even happier that you're even here, that you made it to the end of the video. There's, I guess, subscribe and like if you want to. Maybe it helps if you want to follow the series. But anyways, I hope you're as excited as I am for next month's update, and I'll see you then.